Hey, everyone in YouTube land, this is No Level Cap Podcast, and today we're talking our PlayStation State of Play predictions.
Yo, what's good, people? Welcome back to the No Level Cap Podcast with all the friendly neighborhood black nerds, where we cover all the anime, all the gaming, all the nerd culture, absolutely zero of the BS, with a new episode every Monday morning. I'm your host, Sage Ashford. These are my co-hosts, Rakeem Beck, Devin Butts, and Terrence Flowers. Like Rakeem said, this week we are making our Sony State of Play / PlayStation Showcase predictions. Now, we might be getting a little ahead of ourselves here. As things currently stand, there is no State of Play or PlayStation Showcase announced. Maybe by the time this goes up, possibly, who knows. However, Sony has done a State of Play or Showcase at the end of May or beginning of June every year for the last 3 to 4 years. So just work with us a bit. Work with us, and we'll see what happens. We are going to handle this year's predictions differently. I'm going to bring up some major projects that are in the works or believed to be in the works, and y'all can tell me if you think they'll be there or not. Let's start with Team Asobi. Is there any more Astro Bot DLC coming?
I would say maybe so, because I mean that game was a huge success, and I feel like it's almost kind of like one of those things where you kind of want to maybe keep striking the iron while it's hot a little bit and put something else out there. So I think it's very likely that we might see something else from Astro Bot.
I got one question.
Okay.
Since I didn't play Astro Bot, but I would like to ask, what is the DLC state like now? Have they had like expansions, or do they just like add little levels?
They've had little waves and base in missions and stuff, and they've done like, I think, going all the way up to like the end of March. They had a lot of DLC. So I mean, at this point, I think the only thing left to do would be some kind of little mini expansion.
Yeah, and it's all been free to my understanding. Like a lot of the stuff that they added has been free. They added other collectibles that you can get in the game, other guests that you can get. So yeah, like in terms of a full blown expansion, I think it's possible. It's one of those things that maybe it wouldn't come out. It depends on how long they've worked on it. Because let's see, what Astro Bot came out in September of last year, right?
Right.
I could see with the way expansions work now, sometimes it feels like they have the game come out and then you don't get the expansion for it until maybe like a year and a half later. So I could see them. I mean, Liza P came out in 2023 and we're just now getting the DLC for that. So if they had no initial plans for an expansion pass, and because the game was so successful that now they're kind of being asked for it, I think it's something that will be announced, but probably not available this year, maybe like later this year, which if they announce it, maybe it wouldn't be at this State of Play, but maybe at like a September or fall State of Play, and then come out in 2026. But yeah,
September
I think
is usually their fall State of Play. So
yeah.
Maybe then, maybe so.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's a gimme. Do we see another Ghost of Yotei trailer?
Yeah.
I think we see like an extended gameplay trailer.
Okay.
Am I the only one who's surprised they put that release date out so soon before they did it like a State of Play?
Yes.
No,
I'm also surprised. I was I just felt like it almost makes me think, and it'd be bad for us because we doing this episode, that almost made me think they aren't doing a State of Play anytime soon. Because I don't know why you would put that out when you could put out a trailer during the State of Play, and that's just one more check mark. Like, okay, the State of Play also had Ghost of Yotei's announcement, like release date and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so it's kind of weird.
So what I expected was what happened with Borderlands. It was gonna get its own State of Play, which would make perfect sense because it's first party for them.
I mean, it's like October, right?
Yeah, October the 2nd, I believe.
There's still time.
Okay.
There's still time for them to do a separate State of Play, drilling down into like some of the finer points of Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah, it could probably be like August, September, something like that.
Yeah, but how I expected it to happen was like, I think with previous State of Plays, they'll have a day where they do a longer gameplay, branch off, explain the systems like you guys just said, and then they'll show, oh, and also we have a release date. Because they
Right.
would all tie together. That's just marketing. It just works. You get to build off of the hype of what the gameplay is showing off, and then you build off the release date. So that was just kind of strange to me. They just had a secondary trailer. Was that at an event, or was it just in a random day?
Just a
random
random day.
day.
That's what I thought. Yeah, it was just a random day.
Which,
I was like, did something happen?
which maybe, maybe this is a little tinfoil thinking, is because Sony doesn't really have any other big exclusive games coming out this year. Maybe they wanted to show like, hey, this is the one game we have that's coming this fall. Be prepared for it. And so maybe they just felt like putting out the date would help. Maybe.
Well, that's their next big. Well, we'll get into it. In fact, fuck it. Since you said that, we'll just go ahead and go to it right now. Is Marathon there? And let me ask you a follow-up question. Does Marathon get pushed back?
I don't know. All right, so this is my question. So I've been following a little bit of Marathon because I was a Destiny guy in this group. And not even the biggest Destiny guy compared to some of my other friends. So, like, I think we all know about the issues that Bungie's had, the money they lost, and like how Sony clearly is regretting their investment in the company. So they need Marathon to knock it out the park. But like, because the game is an extraction shooter, I don't know. Like what I saw, like this is just the game. Like this is how it's structured. You'd have to rework this game entirely to make it. I mean, you can refine it to a point where it's really good, but I think the issue now is that the extraction shooter market has like expanded in quality above what Marathon is bringing to the table now. There's more variety you can play now, especially like I think like games like Dark and Darker, which is phenomenal. Like its own unique take on extraction shooters being fantasy. You can't really compete with that. Tarkov was the one who set this genre off. The trendsetters always kind of hold it down longer. You can't really outcompete them. I guess in the case of like PUBG and Fortnite,
well,
they kind of were like.
I mean, you say that, but Arc Raiders, like there was very little hype for Arc Raiders, and then they did that tech test, and from everything I've seen of Arc Raiders, it's just Tarkov if it were designed by AAA studio. And I don't mean that as an insult.
And
I mean like
sci-fi.
It's definitely more sci-fi. But like if the sci-fi elements, and then it's just like Tarkov, but like by a AAA studio. Like you get the additional UI elements. Like there's a map that you can pull up in Tarkov. Ain't no map. You got to go look up the map online, or you just learn the map in your head. It tells you where you can pick up certain items and stuff. In Tarkov, it's just like, hey man, look around and see what you can see. And if you think you can pick it up, try and see what happens. Like that kind of stuff that's meant to make it more hardcore. They toned that down from like a 10 to maybe like an 8, 7.5, somewhere in there. And then they were like, hey, it's just sharp gameplay extraction. Like, you know what it is. You've played it before. And people are super excited about that game. Like, I went from not sure about that game to like, even I'm kind of like, I kind of want to see what this is like. I kind of want to try it out. So, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, if I do wind up picking it up, I will let you know.
Okay.
But yeah, a Marathon it just feels like a game that is not like multiple times I've had people talk about Marathon and say, oh man, it's not fair to compare it to Arc Raiders because it's clearly not as finished as Arc Raiders is. And I'm like, Arc Raiders does not have a release date and Marathon does. So one of these companies is messing up.
And one of these games got completely redone. Arc Raiders was not like this before.
Yeah.
It was not. It was a co-op shooter game that you was just gonna play with your friends, and it didn't have any of that extraction stuff. And they just fixed that over time. Now, granted, Arc Raiders has been coming out for like 3 years, 2-3 years, something like that. So it's not like they hadn't had time to work on it, but Marathon's had just about the same amount of time, and it just looks. I mean, it just don't look like it's delivering on the initial trailer that we saw at the PlayStation Showcase in 2022.
I can say my one gripe with it is that visually and conceptually it's more interesting than its gameplay. It's like the concept is high concept, but the gameplay is dragging it down, which is the one area that cannot drag it down. And I'm glad you brought that up, Sage, because my next point was going to be that Arc Raiders kind of stole his lunch money with this announcement as well. That is a great point, and it is definitely people are definitely more excited about it. But yeah, I feel like Marathon just doesn't do enough to snatch players away from the games they're already playing, or the genre as a whole has kind of moved past the gameplay, or is like starting to innovate on the gameplay that it's presenting in different ways, and it's just got to do something else. And I don't know if you could just change that. That's just what the game is. You have to change the game like Arc Raiders did. Like, you got to make it something different.
That they will try to make it something different. I think they will try to, because I mean, like the Bungie gunplay, I've heard the gunplay is solid enough. So I mean,
the gunplay is always good. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I guess it just depends. I don't know. Like I think we have to see it again. If there's a state of play in the summer, we have to see it because the game comes out at the tail end of summer or the very beginning of fall. Because like September, like late September.
I think it's September. I think.
It is.
Yeah.
It's September 22nd, 23rd, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Man.
So like you'll see it, but do they say that it's getting pushed back?
I mean, maybe. I mean, one thing I can say, like, I remember with Concord, we all said, I think one of the issues was visually it wasn't doing anything super interesting, but the gameplay was solid. And this time, Marathon is doing something really interesting visually, but the gameplay is just all right. And that's a different. I can see them pushing it back. I just don't know what they're gonna do to change people's minds about it. Like, what do they have to do to refine that gameplay and make it more interesting?
That's kind of how I feel too. Yeah.
You might be locked into like the level, but what you can do is you can add content so that it's at least the game is feature rich, and so you can't say like when you buy like I got my money's worth, and that's something I feel like Bungie has struggled with going back to vanilla Destiny, where you buy it and you're like, this all y'all got, and then they drip feed you content over the next 12, 18, 24 months, and then eventually you feel like you've gotten a full package, but it's like, I mean, like I would have liked that on launch, and then you can add on to what you gave me at launch, not, oh, I got half a game or 2/3 of a game, and then you give me the other third over time. Like, I don't want that.
So. That's why I was like Borderlands better.
I think if they do that, this game might be dead on arrival. Because if it does show up at a showcase, I mean, I'm so male in this game, I really don't care. Like, if I were to be able to play a beta, I'd try, but I really don't care about this game. The thought of it was cool. The name, when they first, I'm interested, but I just seen, I'm like, I mean, we saw that game Middle Eden that we thought was Marathon. We were more hype about that. And we was like, why ain't this Marathon? And it's like, we look at Marathon, it's like, bro, this visually looks cool, but it just looks generic. If they show it, they're gonna have to show something that like proves like, hey, this game, hey, y'all had y'all concerns. Hey, this is how the game. They're gonna have to show a banging trailer, some gameplay. Like Sage just mentioned a bunch of features. Because if they do that drip feed thing again, like they did with Destiny, the original one, I think it's dead in the water. You can't do that again. Because if I was a person that played Destiny and they do it again with their next big title, I'd be like, I'm done. I'm not doing this again. Like Destiny's on this 30,000th DLC now.
They just announced another expansion.
Oh wow!
The game came out like
at least that game's free to play now. They learn to make it free.
It is that. It is that. So
that game started in what 2013.
Well, they released Destiny 2 in 20.
It's on Destiny 2 now.
2016.
16.
Is that right, Keem? 2016.
I think that's right. 2016 or 2017.
Yeah, I believe so.
And so
around
now
the
we're
same time as Division 2, right?
Yeah. Division 2, I think 2017, 2018, something like that. But it's 9 years deep into its
that's really what I meant is that that game is like pre PS5, pre this generation. So like it's been going for a long time.
I originally played Destiny on the PS3 before I went to a PS4.
Holy crap. I forgot
but
about
the
that.
cool thing about Destiny, one thing I will give it credit, is that it has great crossplay. Whatever thing you played it on, you can play it on another device, at least on PlayStation, and it's no issue. Like, you just go convert right into the next game. It has all your information, all your data. You can just go keep playing it, which is pretty cool.
So I'm gonna throw a curveball at y'all this time.
Okay.
There is a new team. You may have missed it. You may have caught it. That just got announced. That was formed for Sony. Team LFG.
Let's fucking go.
Team LFG. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's the joke everybody was making when they announced it. Let's fucking go.
This game better be hype.
It stands for like they said, like they did a press release and they were like, it stands for looking for group. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess that's not how we use that term anymore, but sure. But yeah, right. Team LFG, they were part of Bungie. I think they were originally on that Project Gummy Bears thing. And
They got
this
canceled?
is, I don't know if it got canceled. I think this may be that project.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
transform some. They've talked about their game. They're like, our first game is a team-based action game that, and this sounds kind of messy, but I mean, I'm gonna just, our first game is a team-based action game that draws inspiration from fighting games, platformers, MOBAs, life sims, and this is not a typo, frog type games.
Skip.
I don't know what a frog type game is. The only
Like
thing I
Frogger?
know, that's all I know. I don't know another frog type game. I don't know. Like, that may be some kind of marketing term that they have. I do know they're pulling from too many fucking genres. I know
Yeah.
that. So
Like
I
you did
don't.
fighting and platforming.
That's
can
just
see
Smash
that.
Brothers.
That's just Smash Brothers.
It sounds like Smash combined with a MOBA, and I'm like, oh, okay.
What life scene come from?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, the second
Okay,
sentence, my
okay.
bad. Players will inhabit a lighthearted, comedic world set in a brand new mythic science fantasy universe. We can't wait to reveal more. And so I don't know. Like, it sounds like a mess, but it could be like that. I mean, sometimes if you experiment enough, you come out with something new. I'm not going to doubt them yet because I haven't seen anything. I will say, even though Devin was like, skip, he heard frog type game and said, skip.
No, I heard like 30 types of games in one. I'm like, what's going on here, bro?
SKIP. Skip.
And we always make the jokes about an action roguelike,
Souls-like,
Metroidvania,
Metroidvania,
like fighting
card
game,
battle
racing
system.
game. Can't forget the card battles or some dice.
Some dice.
You know.
They throw it all together into one game, and it's like, oh, do you want to play this? And I'm like, I don't. Maybe a version of it, but like, no, you've made 5 games into one, so I'm not sure I do.
Some people can pull it off, some people can't. That's
correct.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm asking is, do y'all think they show a trailer, like a concept trailer or something like that, or are they just like, hey, even though this game's been in the works for a while, we're still just gonna put our heads down and get back to work, and you'll see it later.
When they announced LFG was formed?
That was like last
This week.
Yeah.
Oh, this week?
Yeah.
Oh, if it's announced, if the state of play is announced soon or this month, I don't see it. Something to get announced that soon, unless this was their way of like sneakily saying, "Oh, we got this new group," and they're like, "Oh, throw it out," like, "Oh, the new group."
That's
on this.
really what I was
That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. I will say this: like when you threw those genres on top of each other, the only way I can see that work, it's like a game that is like MMO light or has a hub, and then you branch off to the gameplay section afterwards, and you return to the hub, and it has like some multiplayer MMO-esque stuff. I guess that could work. So that's interesting.
When you said it, I could picture it in my head. So yeah.
Because I was thinking like League of Legends with like a hub when you're done with a match or something. Maybe. Okay.
Yeah. What was you about to say, Devin?
I'll say, I would think if they do have something ready, I would say just show it, because like this concept, you got to show it. This is like a lot of word soup just with text. So you got to show us what this is a concept. You got to show us what's going on, because that's like, yeah, I'm interested. This almost like a game. This is another game that had a lot going on, and we haven't also seen anything from recently. Dokei V. I just think of something crazy wild like that with a bunch of extra stuff in it.
Studio that works on Dokei V. One, I heard there was some weird stuff in the background at the studio, but it's also the studio that works on Black Desert and Crimson Desert. So,
okay.
Oh yeah, and they're
I have to imagine
Crimson Desert.
Since Crimson Desert is a single player game, I have to imagine that once that's finished, that's when the real work on Dokei V starts. So that's why that's been gone for so long.
I think maybe not this state of play. Maybe in the fall is when you would see that. But Rakeem, what he mentioned about, they reveal the studio that they reveal the studio and then reveal the game not too long after. That's also a viable strategy. So I could see it either way, but probably not if I were a betting man.
If I was pressed on it, I would say Rakeem's thing is the second most likely thing, and the most likely thing is like you don't see that game until next year sometime. Like if it's been in development for a while, you probably don't see it until next year. It would be at the September state of play. It would be kind of weird to me because like why would you? It makes sense if you like, okay, here's our new team LFG team, let's fucking go. And then like after that, they're a couple weeks later, they're like, hey, this is what we've been working on. Versus like you announce the team and then you go radio silent for like 6 months. And then you're like in September, like, hey, remember us? And everybody's like, no, we don't. Because who are you? You came out of nowhere. But yeah, speaking of well-known studios working on stuff, Sony Santa Monica, they've got 2 projects that we know about. One is rumored. It's a God of War project going back to Greece. It's like a little side story project. The rumor came from late March. It is from a fairly reliable source. So there's that. And it's supposed to come out this year. So picture like maybe a $30 to $40 project coming out in this fall. Versus there's a new IP that they've been working on. Cory Barlog has been working on it since like 2019. It's like a science fiction game. Ooh. Do either of those make an appearance here?
I could see the smaller. Oh, go ahead.
The God of War was the one I'm thinking of because I've been hearing rumors about that for a while.
Mm-hmm. God of War makes sense. I think that one, that especially if it's a smaller project, I think that showing up is probably a certainty, and the other one is probably just saved for later.
And I'm gonna say this: I have noticed in general, like with God of War, there's like a strong yearning for like maybe not the exact tone, but the style of combat the old God of Wars had. Like people missed that, like how that felt. It felt more visceral. And I think if you had a project that kind of leaned more into that style of action that was smaller, I think people would actually go for that, especially like an older Kratos, like in Greece setting.
What happened to like the God of War trilogy remake remaster thing that was like heavily rumored, or is that just no longer a thing?
That's where this rumor came from, not like legitimately, but like I think someone was asking about that remaster remake thing, and then the guy that responded, Jeff Grubb, was like, "Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that. I've heard about this side project where they're going to Greece." And in other words, like that remaster or whatever, if it's coming, it's a ways off.
Okay.
What I'll say is this. I'll be interested. It'd be interesting to see this game, but what I'll say is this. If we get a Sony State of Play, it's probably just that Greek project. It's probably just that. If it's a PlayStation showcase and they're trying to show a bunch of first-party games at one time, then you probably get both. Because, I mean, like, if that game's been in the works since 2019, it's like, well, that's a long time for a game to be in the works. Typically a game, even a AAA game, is 6 to 7 years development time. So like that's a game that potentially would come out next year, 2025 or 2026, after a 7-year dev cycle. So I mean, I could see them pushing that early-ish. Speaking of early, Naughty Dog, Intergalactic, Heretic Prophet. Is that here, or is that going radio silent for at least a year?
I don't think it's coming out this year.
It's definitely not coming out this year
because that had 2026, right? Because it
had no
date whatsoever. Oh, okay,
none.
Okay.
I mean, I could see another smaller trailer. I don't think we'll see anything huge yet because it's not. I think with those projects, like a little bit closer to time before they start revealing like the big roadmap games and the release dates and stuff like that. So if they do, it'll probably just be it's a side trailer, maybe give you some more of the universe, world, and the lore. Because we only know a little bit from that first trailer, so I can see them expanding on that. But that's all I think I will see.
Yeah,
I think because that was announced at the
Game Awards,
TGA's right?
Awards.
Yeah, so
yeah,
I think you save that for September. If it's going to be this year, you save it for September. I think that way, if it's something that they're playing for 2026, they can maybe announce that release window then. But nah, I don't think we see that. It's too soon.
In my head, I don't think we see that game this year at all. I think it's the fact that there was no year, and there's a game that I'm going to bring up in just a second that does have a year, and it's not this year. The fact that there has no year makes me think that, they don't know when that game's coming out. They don't even have a rough idea. And so, like, we're talking 2026, maybe at best, but most likely 2027. And if it's 2027, then we probably just saw like a little teaser trailer, and then they probably shut up about it until like next fall. And then that's when they start hyping that game up again. Because it doesn't matter. It's Naughty Dog, so people are going to like fire up whenever they show more about it regardless. So,
yeah.
I'm
excited for it.
I think this probably could go side, unless, like Rakeem said, they show just like a little extra little snippet or something. Probably won't see any gameplay for a while, because even when you search, they said like this might be 2027 at the earliest potentially. If it doesn't come out yet next year. So
if they say that, then if they said that, then I'm more inclined to follow Sage's thinking that we don't see it at all.
Yeah. That's too far off.
Yeah.
It is going to be interesting because they've the way they've talked about this game, they're like really trying to enforce the idea of solitude, and they seem to be pushing the gameplay aspects a little more than they usually do with, like, you know, Naughty Dog, which has been more story focused over the last decade or so. That makes me wonder: is this basically Naughty Dog's version of a Souls-like or a Metroidvania?
I don't know. Maybe the Metroidvania. Because they really because like I know God of War really leaned more into almost like a Zelda-esque or like more adventurous type of game. And I think studios like that almost more than open world. Like I remember when I played Jedi Survivor, the elements that played more like a Metroidvania, like it interconnected the world in a way that was interesting. And I think a lot of developers like to interconnect the worlds. It's more interesting in some cases than even open world, because you can hide so many things in the levels and play with verticality and lock off until you make players want to return to areas and not feel like it's backtracking. So that's kind of like why I see a lot of developers use it. I'd be down for that because I love Metroidvanias. Now that it is in the lineup of IPs we talked about that they love to use today. Metroidvania, Souls-likes, rogue-likes. That's the big three of let's do it again. Let's do it again game.
I'll do it again.
Let's do it again. But yeah, I'll be down for that. Also, man, if the God of War guys are also working on a sci-fi game, they are really leaning sci-fi now. Like Sony damn near becoming a sci-fi company.
When I was compiling this list, I actually came across a Reddit thread that said exactly that. They were like, "It's a little too much sci-fi. Like maybe y'all need to do like a fantasy game or something like that to kind of vary it up." Now, admittedly, the sci-fi that they have is very different. Like, you know, Returnal isn't anything like Astro Bot, but still, it is very much they are like heavy sci-fi. You know, Horizon and this, and then like God of War. So, well, not God of War, but whatever Santa Monica's doing.
I will say that it feels like the Chinese and like Korean games, they're the ones that are leaning more into like the fantasy. So maybe they're the ones who are like covering that ground.
Right. And I kind of like it too, because like their fantasy is exploring the fantasies of their own cultures.
Yeah.
And we don't actually see that a lot. We're really stuck in medieval-esque, Tolkien-esque fantasy in the West.
Well,
and what's up?
Except for Crimson Desert.
Okay.
Which just look like The Witcher.
It does.
That's just medieval, straight up fantasy, and they added a few extra fantasy races. That's all they did.
They ain't never gonna stop making medieval fantasy.
And to be fair, do a DDT in The Witcher, man.
He is doing a lot of wrestling. I will say that.
That is true.
Oh no, man.
You got me there.
He does that's why I like that. I was like, hold on, he do wrestling moves? You know I love wrestling.
He was getting down with the wrestling moves. Here's one that I'm not even sure I have an answer for yet. I'm gonna let y'all talk it out and I'll think about it. Insomniac. Wolverine. We haven't seen Wolverine unless you went looking at some shit you're not supposed to know about. We haven't seen Wolverine since 2021. It's been a while. Like Spider-Man 2 has come out. It's come to PC, which lets you know, because they always put a gap between the two. They've done it all, and we still haven't seen any footage of Wolverine. Do we see that game do we see that game here, or do we see it in September? What do y'all think?
I'll let y'all go first on this one. I got ideas though.
I'll let you go, Dad.
Ideas.
Me personally, I think it's man, I almost forgot about that game. Like I had almost forgot about the whole little ransom leak and stuff. I think we got to see something, man. I know that this whole thing, this whole fiasco might have changed their course, because it's like I don't even know if that's ever happened where somebody gets a hold of a game that's like not even, and people were like, oh, this game look like, bro, it ain't even like halfway done, and y'all like, Like, let's be real about this.
They was leaking builds. I'm like, come on now.
Yeah,
They leaked
The
so
build
much.
would like show gameplay and then go to like some still shots and then go back to game. I'm like, y'all doing too much.
Yeah. I would say we might have to see something. Maybe they've course corrected and maybe they're at a point where they're like, okay, hey, we know this happened, but we still got to release this game. We're just gonna go on as, you know, regular scheduled programming. I think we have to see something. Me personally, I feel like just go ahead and show us, because the only thing we got was just that one little CG teaser of him putting his claws out. So I think at this point we got to see some gameplay or something, or like a more of a story trailer that's like a little more in depth of like what's going on in this game. Or maybe they're just like, hey, well, what happened? We're trying to like make sure that doesn't happen again, and we're trying to fix everything. We want to make sure this game looks up to par when y'all see it. So maybe it might be later on this year, maybe it might be next year. But I think, like I said, I had almost forgot about this game, and I'm sure some other people have too. So I think they got to show something. They got to show something, man.
We haven't heard from Insomniac has it been like a year and a half? Like, I mean, when was Spider-Man 2 was 2023, right?
Yeah, but of course, you know, they had the PC port at the top of this year.
Yeah. So I have to agree with Devin. I feel like now is the time. I think you do show it here. If you don't show it here, then September. Fair enough. But yeah, it's been a long time. And I know they had the leak and that affected things, but I think if the game was on track for either this year or next year, if that game is like coming out in 2027, that's crazy. But like if that game is still on track to come out this year or next year, I think now is the time to start building the anticipation for it again. Because like Devin said, like, you know, people have forgotten probably at this point, like, oh yeah, there was a Wolverine game that's supposed to come out. So I think it would be a good time to, at least if you don't have gameplay, release some kind of CG teaser that reminds us this is a thing and it's still coming.
They've got gameplay. I mean, like that. Is it polished enough that they feel comfortable showing it off? I don't know.
Yeah,
but they definitely got a good bit of gameplay. Like there was gameplay in that leaked footage, and that. I mean, well, stolen. I say leaked, stolen footage. There was gameplay in that, and so that should let you know, like, okay, well, they've got something. Now, it's interesting to me. Insomniac is probably the most, well, not even probably, the most prolific developer that Sony has, because just in this generation, in this decade, they've released Miles Morales Spider-Man, they released the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and then they released Spider-Man 2. And they did that in like less than 5 years. And so like for Wolverine, if Wolverine was to come out in 2026, I would not be shocked, especially since there was some other stuff that we found out that like, oh, they wanted to work on a lot of Spider-Man 2 DLC. And there was supposed to be a Spider-Man 2 standalone game. And all of that stuff got scrapped.
And a multiplayer game.
And a multiplayer game. Now the multiplayer game got canceled ahead of time.
That's right.
Even though it looked good. And I was like, I don't know why y'all canceled this. Y'all could have tried to make this work. Yeah. Like, y'all keep trying to make all these fucking multiplayer games that don't nobody want. But this one I looked at, I said, oh, no, this kind of worked. Like,
they should have done that over Marathon.
I'm going to leave Marathon alone because it's Bungie. And they hadn't put out a new game. And this technically ain't a new game. It's just, my God. You know.
That's old IP,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, that's old IP, but they hadn't put out a new game since 2016, so I'll let them alone. The rest of y'all, all of these like different multiplayer, like, oh, Last of Us multiplayer. I'm like, man, so another post-apocalyptic multiplayer game. How original.
That Last of Us multiplayer was good.
No, but they was trying to expand this into something else.
The standalone game.
Yeah, they was trying to expand that into something else. I'm like, look, man, the originality came from the characters and the writing, not really the world. Like the world, this is another post-apocalyptic game. I looked at that Spider-Man game. I said, wait a minute now, this could have been something.
I'll put it this way.
And then what was it?
The success of Marvel Rivals probably has them kicking themselves in the rear end, because it's like, look at what Rivals is doing. We could have done something like that. I mean, obviously not it being like an Overwatch, but you could have done so many skins. There's just so much potential that could have been had for a Spider-Man multiplayer game.
While I was doing all that ranting, I think I remembered why they pulled it. They basically realized they didn't have the time necessary to work on that and then give like the content pipeline that it needed and work on their single player projects at the same time.
You know what? That's
which
fair.
To me,
that's fair.
I'm like, well, break off part of that team and then add some more people to it and then just put that game out anyway. But I mean, whatever. I'm not really a CEO. I just play one on a podcast. So let's just leave that alone. But yeah, Wolverine, like I think Wolverine is a 2026 game. I think that's going to be probably their biggest 2026 title. And so that means that we probably need to start seeing something of that game now. They could play the usual card of like, well, we're going to wait and show at the last second, and then maybe you start seeing it in September, and that's maybe a year from the release or less than a year from the release. But man, I really hope we see it this May. What's going on, Keen?
I was gonna say, like, a part of me in my mind was like, you know what? It debuted at the Game Awards. It might show up again at the Game Awards. That could happen. I don't think that wouldn't be the best idea. But I mean, it's been such a long time, wouldn't it?
Wolverine didn't debut at the Game Awards.
It was a PlayStation.
You're right. It wasn't a PlayStation one. You're right.
It was. I think the same showcase where Star Ocean got announced.
I'll think my Wonder Woman. I'm so sorry.
Well, we know how that turned out. So
for anybody who didn't know, Wonder Woman was canceled, and Sage was irate, to say the least.
I don't know why. I don't know why we had to drudge up old memories. I mean,
I got
my
superhero gaze crossed up, man.
That was the best looking shield and rope I ever seen.
I tell you,
it was the best of trailers. It was the worst of trailers.
They couldn't get it to work. I was like, what is there not to get to work? Like, she got a rope, she got a lasso, she got hands, and she got a sword. Like,
when it comes to DC heroes,
the only person that works is Batman.
They don't know, they don't know how to make anything work. When it comes to Marvel heroes, they put anybody up. Hey man, a card game with Captain Marvel, Blade, Hulk, fuck it, we'll make it work. Who cares? Make it work.
That dang Marvel Cosmic Invasion. I was like, I'm about to throw everything out my window right now. They started showing some obscure characters that the only way you'd know is if you was reading old 90s comics. I said, ain't no way. Y'all managed to get this off the ground and into like onto people's screens and DC like Constantine. We don't know how to make that work. Like, what?
he does magic. Come on, man.
Flash. We can't make a Flash game work. I'm like, yes, you can. Like, people want to play Flash. Like, what are you talking about? All right.
No, man, Flash, they canceled Flash player. We can't do that no more.
Oh, my God.
Bruh.
Housemarque.
All right.
Saros.
Mm-hmm.
That game it has a release year, 2026. And I think did they announce that at the top of this year?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
That actually answers my question. I don't think Saros is going to be here. What do y'all think?
I don't either. I think it's too soon.
I damn near forgot about Saros. Can y'all give me a refresher?
I did too.
It's by the people that do Returnal.
Yeah.
That's the game.
They announced it at the last. They announced it as the last game for the last state of play.
Right.
I mean, granted, it was just a CG trailer, so we didn't actually see in gameplay or anything. But yeah, that is supposed to come out next year. I think that's maybe September. Maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking late in the year, maybe for that one.
I think September is a good guess, and if not September, the Game Awards.
Yeah.
We don't know when in 2026 that game is coming out. It has been a while. Returnal came out in 2020 or 2021.
Don't let me lie.
I do know they just recently released like an update to the PS5 and the PC version maybe just the PS5. No, they added some updates for the PS5 Pro version of it. So they were doing some work on it, but yeah, other than that, you're right. It's been out for some years now.
And I mean, like, there's no reason for that. They're not making an open world game. I can't imagine that game could easily come out in 2026 early on. And if it's early in the year, September is a good guess for another look at it. So we'll see. Now a game that everybody is excited to play.
Uh-oh.
Haven Studios, Fairgames.
Brother. I don't even know if Sony want to bring that game back up at this point.
We haven't seen it. I don't think we've seen it since that initial PlayStation showcase in 2023.
We haven't. Here's my thing.
Yeah.
Do you show it while Marathon is supposed to come out first? Like, I feel like they've been kind of stepping on each other to an extent, right?
Well, if you remember,
Do it.
in that PlayStation showcase, they had Foam Stars, Fairgames, Marathon, and I think another game that was along those, like, still kind of like multiplayer co-op shooter. Yeah, like the big multiplayer push. So I mean, like, I don't think Helldivers, that was the other one. I think they probably still have that same mindset. Like, they're still selling PS5s. So I mean, like, even though us and a lot of other people call that PlayStation showcase kind of a disaster, I mean, like, it didn't hurt them monetarily. So it would not surprise me if they like, hey, why not?
Hey, put some fire on them in some competition, I guess. I don't know. I'm being honest, I had almost forgot about that game too. Because we ain't seen they showed that little trailer of them running like little heist or whatever and their weapons and all that, and that was it. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
And one of those games from that showcase already failed. So
wait, was Concord at that showcase too?
You know, I was thinking, but I'm not sure.
Yes.
No, maybe.
Yeah.
Was it? I thought it was after.
No, it was the initial trailer. Remember the one that was just like the spaceship?
Oh.
And it was showing you parts of the ship?
Oh, so 2 games from that showcase failed. Okay. Foam Stars and Concord.
Foam Stars did
Star one. It wasn't that bad. I played Foam Star, but it ain't nothing special. It wasn't super special.
Some of these games need to cost money so that you can pay for it and keep it instead of it being like free to play and needing to sell a certain number of copies. Because, like, if I can play it on a private server, even if it fails, it's like, okay, well, I like this, so I'm gonna keep playing it with my friends. Versus, like, it was free to play and it needed to generate $1 billion or however much money, like an obscene amount of money to keep going. It's like, man, like, and it's free, so like once it goes down, it's just gone because it's not worth it to keep the servers up and let you download it, and they're not even making money off of the off the download. Like, so some of these games need to start costing money again.
I agree. Especially like I've seen a lot of MMOs that failed. For instance, Dragon's Dogma Online several years ago now. People just like reworked it, got the code, got a server, and they're just doing a Dragon's Dogma Online. You can play on your computer. Dragon Ball Online, a very old MMO. People still like playing that. They have private servers you can play that on. So I totally agree with that.
I mean, Phantasy Star Online still has private servers going.
Oh yeah.
You'll see Max jump in there periodically. That's
OG
where WoW Classic came from.
Yeah.
That's why
RuneScape.
OG WoW was so popular that they were like, you know what? We should probably just release a version of this so we can make money off of it. So.
Yeah. I played a lot of classic server stuff. That was how I first played WoW. I didn't play the actual game. I played on a private server with a friend. That's how I first played WoW.
Huh.
I guess you could show Fairgames here. I guess if you want us to be reminded of its existence, sure, why not?
I mean, I had to go look it up. So
I don't know.
Devin said he forgot it. Now, why he said like a nigga from New Jersey? Because he said I forgot about that game too, and I was like, all right, man.
Say for Baltimore.
Hey,
man. I didn't know you was from B-boy, Devin.
Hey man,
Kill Michael by way of Baltimore.
Going straight to the wire.
But I'll just
be one way.
But it's the other way.
It's the other way.
But no, I mean, I agree with you though, Devin. Like, I had forgotten. Like, I had to do research to build this list out. And as I was doing, I was like, oh snap, Fairgames. Yeah, I forgot about that game. Like, they showed that one trailer, and then you never heard from it again. And by the way, this has got to stop. This thing that people are doing where they try to like have one trailer and then it goes away forever, and then it's about to come back, and then they'll have one new trailer, and it's like there was no hype for your game, bro.
Yeah.
There was nobody that was excited. No one cared. People were mildly curious at best. And in a market now where there are so many games constantly vying for your attention, both new and old, and you're like, oh, well, we'll go away for forever, and then we'll come back, shadow drop. Yeah, that'll get them on our side. No, you ain't built like that. And don't feel bad, because most studios, most developers, most games are not built like that. Okay, Obsidian was able to do it because that's Obsidian, that's Elder Scrolls, that's Bethesda. If you're not that, then you need to know, like, okay, I need to probably hype this up continuously. I need to constantly be showing you something. And the fact that we haven't seen anything from Fairgames in forever is like, all right, man, like, They need to get that show on the road. Is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Okay.
It don't look unique enough. It just my thought. It just reminded me of the finals. That's the thing that comes
Payday.
in my head. Yeah.
And Payday 3 didn't do that well this year, so man, that genre might be in decline.
Let's shift to third party a little bit because Sony does have some third party partnerships. Capcom. Do we see I feel like it. Wait. Actually, we saw Onimusha Way of the Sword at the last State of Play, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Do y'all think they go back to that well, or do you think it's Resident Evil 9 time?
I think it's either Resident Evil 9 or Resident Evil 5 or Code Veronica remake. Yeah. I think it's time.
Oh my
maybe
God.
DMC 6.
You said who?
I said maybe DMC 6, but that's a little 10 for.
DMC 6 is done by DMC done by the same team, and I think that got left actually, but done by the same team as Dragon's Dogma.
Correct.
Okay,
you're gonna say that for a couple of years.
Yeah, it'll be a couple of years. But Resident Evil 9, which is the one that's been rumored, like the remakes. The talk about the remakes is still kind of fuzzy. We don't know if it's 5 or Code Veronica, Terrence. But the remakes, we know that's further off than Resident Evil 9, which seems like that's the next on the docket. The question is, do we see that here, or do they wait till next year?
I mean, it's their biggest IP.
Yeah, I think.
So I would imagine if it's ready, it's coming. That's all.
Monster Hunter is their biggest IP.
Oh well, that's fair. That's fair.
But
that's fair.
This is a close
sales
second.
wise, yeah. Sales wise, it's Monster Hunter. I guess in the zeitgeist of the world is Resident Evil because of all the extra stuff they did.
Right, I agree.
Not just the sales. But I could see it. I would not be surprised seeing it here. It feels like the timeline they've liked to do is do a remake and then the next year do the official one if they can time it that way. So I could definitely see it showing up the next State of Play. And man, that would be so cool because RE8 had to me probably the most visibility of a Resident Evil game because of Twitch streaming really people were really was it close to 2020, so people were still really on Twitch heavy, and I just kept seeing Lady D. We all know why, you know why, just that time was special to me. I just feel like Resident Evil kind of came into its own even more than it already was. It was already popular IP, but 7 brought the franchise back from what 6 had done to its credibility as a franchise, and then 8 kind of took it further, and people felt like I felt like people really engaged with 8, and I feel like they'll be really hungry to see what 9 has to offer in the future and how they evolve the game moving forward. And I'm even excited. I'm not even a hardcore RE fan, but I'm excited to see what they do because I thought RE8 was really cool.
I think what could happen is go ahead, Devin.
I just want I think it's time because out of all the big IPs they've got out of the way, they got Monster Hunter out of the way, they've shown that Onimusha's coming, Okami's coming. They've Street Fighter has had this thing. We've had collections. They even have a new show for Devil May Cry anime. So the only big thing that's left out of the conversation of showing up is RE. So I think it's time. I remember there was rumors of potentially Leon or a classic character coming back, and I think I heard Leon. I think it's due time for that because as much as I did like RE8. I went back and watched. I was watching Corey Kenshin play, and I'm like, this almost. If you didn't have the name, almost like I said about 6, if you didn't have the name Resident Evil, you'd be like, what is this could have just been something different. But I know they were going in somewhat of a different direction, almost back to the full roots of how Umbrella started. So I guess it was a little different, and more of a werewolf game and a bunch of other creatures, like a monster mashup, really.
It felt like a hybrid of 4 and 7.
Yeah, that's a good comparison, like the village and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, clearly 8 was a way to get you ready for 4 remake.
Yeah.
That's true.
It was a solid game. And I'm ready to see if Leon is coming back. Y'all know he's the poster boy for Resident Evil. That he is him. Leon him Kennedy. S stands for S rank. Leon is Kennedy. So it's time though. I think it's time.
I think what will happen if they do reveal it, I think they'll reveal a release date. Because I remember one of the coolest things they did for RE4 was they dropped that trailer, and at the beginning of the trailer, they already put out the date, and it's oh, Capcom's confident. So I think the same thing could happen. But we'll see, of course.
That would be cool. But it does show you also that they're willing, because like when they put out that trailer, it was a year before that game came out. And that would show you like, okay, well, we're also confident here, like a year out, we can let you know like this game is coming out next year. Maybe the fall, but I mean, like, I think RE4 came out in Q1.
Yeah, it was like January or February, something like that. Maybe March. Something along those lines, I think, if I'm remembering correctly.
March.
Okay.
Into March.
Was it Resident Evil 7 that was like January or something like that? And I don't remember Village when exactly that came out.
Yes.
Okay.
And then Village was, I think, also early. May. They like their early release.
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe they say January 2026 or something like that, and then show the rest of the game. So we'll see. Yeah.
Oh yeah, if it's coming early, if it's coming not even first half, but like first quarter, we definitely have to see it here.
Yeah.
Or it at some showcase in the summer. So Square Enix. Now, Square Enix does not have the exclusives anymore. That they've realized that that's not a winning path for them anymore. But they're not going to stop their partnership. And so here's the question: do we see Kingdom Hearts 4 or Final Fantasy 7 Reunion, or whatever they're going to call the third one?
7 Reunion, I really doubt.
Yeah, same.
Well, hold on. Hold on before we get ahead of ourselves with 7. That game is almost assuredly going to come out in 2027.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
So
I think that's a TGA thing.
I could see that too.
I could see that.
Yeah. As far as Kingdom Hearts 4, I don't know, because the development history of Kingdom Hearts as a franchise, it's up in the air. It feels like they finally got the lid on with the development times, especially with the recent games. They've been coming out pretty consistently. But with Kingdom Hearts, I don't know. You think it's ready, and then you don't hear from it for 2 years, 3 years.
Well, we had that trailer 3 years ago.
Yes, man. We reviewed it on this podcast.
We
watched it, man. That's crazy. It's kind of crazy.
I think if that's that being a big flagship title for Square Enix, I think we got to see something, man. Like you gotta. They showed that little small clip of what looked to be like in engine. It looked like gameplay. They had like the UI up and stuff for a bit of it. Not a very big drastic change in art style, but like more realism,
yeah.
Which I was kind of half and half on. But I think we got to see something, man. Y'all got to show us somebody, please, for the love of cheesesteaks. Put some Final Fantasy characters in this game.
Do you think Jeff might have it, like Summer Game Fest?
No,
you don't think so?
If it exists, I feel like Sony. Unless Square is just pissed that they couldn't get the sales they wanted off of the PS5. They are too. I mean, yeah, they can't be happy. They're too closely connected for them to give it to Jeff.
Fair enough.
I could see that.
And but I'll be honest. I don't see it right now. There are some other things we probably would see, but I don't know about Kingdom Hearts.
Here's the thing.
Reunion.
They've got nothing this year, and they kind of told us that. I think when they had one of their investor conversations or something like that, they let you know that there was not going to be a major release this year.
Yeah,
but at some point next year, you got to have something.
Got to be something. Yeah,
and so there are 3 projects that you could have. One of them is Kingdom Hearts 4.
Correct.
One of them is Final Fantasy 7 Reunion, which I think we all can agree is not next year. And then the other one is Dragon Quest 12.
Dragon Quest.
So the question is, do we see Dragon Quest 12 soon, or do we see Kingdom Hearts 4 soon?
Ooh, that's a good question. Now that one, at least we've seen Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah. We only saw like the logo, or like just
that's
logo.
all we've seen for Dragon Quest 12.
Oh yeah, his logo is serious this time. You know, that's about it. That's all we got.
Yeah, they say that, and then that theme gonna hit in with the trumpets and everything. Yep. And it's gonna be. I mean, like Dragon Quest XI wasn't exactly the most lighthearted game. Like the world ended in midway through the game.
But man, that game was super dark.
The world ended midway through the game, and before the world ended, like you went to the king, told him what you were, and he was like, "Cool, where you stay at? I want to throw like a little party for you." And he killed everybody at your city. So like, it's not like the game forever that. Yeah, spoilers for if you haven't played Dragon Quest XI. I'm sorry. It's only been out like 8 years. But you know, I'm sure you were going to get to it, right? But yeah, I mean, like, Dragon Quest XI wasn't exactly lighthearted to begin with. So like, what are we talking about? Like, Dragon Quest 12 gonna be dark unless you're trying to make the Final Fantasy 16 in Dragon Quest 12. Unless you're gonna do that, which I don't recommend.
I hope not. It needs. It still needs its personality. People
it needs
really
its own identity. So
yeah,
I will see. But I mean, like, go ahead, Terrence.
Let me ask you all this: do you think that maybe Square has been waiting for the Switch 2 to come out?
So here's the thing. I thought that. But then you know what? Actually, so that makes me think, what if you got Kingdom Hearts 4 at the Sony at a PlayStation showcase? Maybe not this one, maybe in the fall. And what if you got Dragon Quest 12 at the next Nintendo Direct?
That could make sense, especially since like Dragon Quest 11 was deeply tied to Nintendo.
Yeah, a lot of its success came from Nintendo.
Yeah, because it was on the 3DS, and then they had the chibi version where you could play like the retro.
They made
version
a whole other version for it,
and they made a whole other version. Yeah, so it's Nintendo and Dragon Quest is. So I could definitely see that being at a Nintendo conference.
I think I could see that.
Okay,
that's another Dragon Quest game that might show up too.
That is true. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD.
Because
I don't think we have we have a release date for that.
I'll have to check. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
That hadn't even been a trailer yet, right?
Yeah, this is
they were making it.
Yeah,
there's been a trailer for 1 and 2? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got 3 games left. Oh, really 4, but I'm gonna throw one of them out. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, why not?
But that's like
it comes out in August.
Like
why not?
It would be like a launch
coming out trailer.
Yeah, like one of those.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll move on to the next one. Where Winds Meet. Keep in mind that game is already out in China.
Already out.
Yeah.
And Sony has promoted it heavily, and it made an appearance at the State of Play last May. So
just waiting on a dub?
Yes. Or a sub, basically, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Dub for us.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that, especially since the game's already done. They just just waiting on a dub at this point. I can see a trailer coming out.
Because I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, wait, ain't that game supposed to be out already? I'm like, oh, it's out, just not for us yet.
Just not for us.
Okay. I'm like,
I can't wait this game come out so I can actually know what it really is.
That too.
Footage is up. I mean, it's plenty of footage out for the game. It looks like. I mean, the question is it? Are they doing like I don't think there are any gacha elements. I think it's making its money through like sellable clothes and weapons and shit like that. I don't know. I think that might be what they're doing right now. So
like Path of Exile.
Yeah, like that type stuff. So I guess I would assume if we see it, there has to be a release date. Like, okay, this is when it's finally coming to America, coming to the West in general. So that lines up the most to me. So, actually, we got time. Crimson Desert.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Devin talked about this game, so Devin has an opinion on Crimson Desert.
It's a lot going on, man.
It is a lot going on. And you know what's interesting? Kind of funny. Sat down with some of the developers of Crimson Desert, and it wasn't just them. I think it was at not PAX. What's the other one? GDC. Okay. They sat down with them at GDC, and like basically the entire purpose of what is it? What's the name of that studio? Pearl Abyss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The entire purpose of Pearl Abyss sitting down at GDC was to show everybody this game is possible. It's not impossible. Let's show you. We want to show you this, and we're gonna show you some gameplay, and we're gonna show you this because we just want to. Because like I think they're aware of the perception of what Devin just said, where it's doing too much and it just seems like another do everything game, and there's no way that you could pull all that off. And like the GDC that like they did a sit down in GDC, and the entire purpose was basically to show everybody like, no, all this stuff we're doing is possible. It's not a trick. Now, whether that means it's going to be a good game or not, still up in the air.
That's a different conversation. Yeah.
Still up in the air. Is that game going to be? Because to me, a success, a wild success, is if that game hits like an 84. Like with all the stuff that you see in that game, if it hit an 84 on Metacritic, I'd be like, I didn't think you could pull off any of it. So I mean, congratulations. Anything above 84, like 88, 89, like my God, like that's a game of the generation type thing. Like that's because it's just doing so much. So I'm very curious to see if that game, because I think it's supposed to come out this year.
I believe so.
I believe it's like a 2025. Now, the only question is it going to be here or is it going to be a Keeley show?
I could see it being here, but yeah, I could see Keeley having it as well. I will say this is one of those games I've been excited for. I will say, like, when I played Black Desert back in the day I didn't play it a lot because the only thing I liked about Black Desert really was the combat. The MMO part just was not gripping for me.
Right.
So I was kind of excited they kind of had a more focused game, a more linear game, so they could kind of focus on that combat and not have to worry about all the MMO stuff. So that's what made me excited. But it's for like we've been waiting on this game for so long. Like every trailer was like, you can do that too? That happened? That too? You sure? Wrestling moves. All right, cool.
Now they do have footage of boss fights.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Boss fights.
Yeah, I've
like
seen
so.
some of it.
The boss fights are pretty cool.
It seems like the combat might be straight. The question is, can they tie all the rest of that stuff together into like a cohesive project?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's a different conversation.
I'm not confident enough to speak one way or the other about it. Last game. Sony they have a checkered history with this developer, with the lead developer, Amy Hennig, over there at Skydance Studios. They have a checkered history with her. I think they're still on good terms. So if so, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like that's a Summer Game Fest game. Maybe that's just me, but I don't know if that would be at a state of play. I think you would save that for the creme de la creme, so to speak. Not saying that state of play is like meager to Summer Game Fest by any means, but I feel like that'd be a Jeff announcement, at least in my eyes. Because when was it first? Was it revealed at a state of play or was it revealed somewhere else?
Somewhere else. It was revealed at like a GDC or something like that. It was just randomly revealed, and they were like, "Hey, we're working on this project," and everybody was like, "We didn't even know this thing was a thing." So
right, because they announced it before the trailer came out, right? Before they even had a trailer.
I think so.
The concept of it, yeah,
I think so.
We talked about it, how like the cast was weird. It was like, okay, we got Captain America, okay, we got Black Panther, but old Black Panther. I was like, okay, Child's dad, and then
Black Panther's daddy.
Then we got this random
Shield member,
Dora Milaje, and then a soldier, not Bucky,
no,
just a soldier,
just soldier, Gabriel, whatever his name was.
I didn't know. I was like, this is weird. This doesn't make any sense.
I'm still baffled. I'm still not sure I want to play that game. I'm gonna need to see some actual gameplay, not just what looked like a Mortal Kombat cutscene.
Yeah,
let's show what they showed.
Man, if Injustice 3 looked like that, I'm like, take it, buddy, take it.
It do look like Injustice 3.
Yeah, facial captures, they were insane.
Yeah, the visuals looked outstanding. Like, but I agree with Sage. Like, we needed what is this game going to entail? Is it going to play like Guardians of the Galaxy? Is it going to be like Avengers? Like, what are we getting here? Is this like more of a Batman type style game?
Probably leaning more to Uncharted because with the narrative direction. But the combat is what I'm interested.
That'd be interesting
because it's superheroes now.
So it's got to be a bit of a mix of everything because, like, there's going to be some gunplay in it. You've got a soldier, but of course there has to be like some hand to hand because you got the Black Panther and the Dora Milaje. But they've got to pull off the shield combat because, like, if you're playing Captain America, if you can't get the shield right, like that is because I mean, like, this ain't T'Challa. I mean, Black Panther in there, but that's not T'Challa, so it's not like that's the draw here is Captain America right now. And so, like, if you can't get that shield right, you might as well go ahead and cut the game off right there. So
That's a good point.
Or they could give everybody guns.
Oh my god.
I mean, actually, I have to imagine they all have guns, but not as their main weapons, as their secondary weapons.
Make it their main weapons.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. That was the problem with that game.
Try to turn the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that was the problem. The guns were supposed to be the secondary weapons, and then their actual character weapons should have been their main weapons, but they inverted it for some reason. I'm like, I don't know what. Who thought of it?
Captain America, my main weapon should be guns, man. You know,
I mean, he may have a gun with him. It would be interesting to see because, like, you go back to a lot of World War II era Captain America stuff. He has guns in his hands.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
just he tends to use the shield because, I mean, why wouldn't you? So I don't know. I guess now I don't know. Like, I actually think State of Play. Well, if it's a PlayStation Showcase for sure, but even arguably State of Play, I would say that's still bigger than Summer Game Fest. Summer Game Fest really periodically will have like a really big game, but a lot of times it's a lot of like games you've never heard of and like games from other countries that aren't necessarily known for designing video games yet. Like maybe like because China and Korea have built up their name over the last couple of years, but like before this, they didn't have no.
In a lot of different industries too, not just gaming.
Facts.
Yes.
So like, I mean, like I don't know, like it just depends. I could see it showing up at Keeley Showcase though. In fact, it's either here or at Keeley Showcase. It would be a shock if it was at Xbox's Showcase. I'd be like, whoa, because Amy Hennig was not happy with how Uncharted turned out. So I don't know.
I've been messed up. I miss Uncharted. I ain't gonna lie.
I do miss Uncharted.
I'm looking forward to playing this to some degree.
I just want to see what it looks like first. And
then
play
Mafia the Old Country.
Obviously, you might get it in Mafia, man.
Mafia the Old Country, but like Grand Theft Auto beats Uncharted come back. I'm like, hold on now, this is
real.
Well, they stripped out the open world in that, so it really is like Uncharted.
Okay,
so
it felt like it. I was like, this looks more linear, but I wasn't sure it's gonna have like open zones or whatever.
It's also cheaper.
Yeah,
it's like $50. So once again, another game with.
So this is like a complete I don't want to go outside the subject. This is like a complete rebrand of this IP then. To some degree.
I don't know about a rebrand, but it is like this is their second chance because like 3 was so long ago, and then like the remakes that really don't count. People aren't unless you just are a beloved brand, and Mafia isn't quite as beloved as say like Resident Evil or something like that.
Yeah,
and so I think this is a new coming out party, I suppose you could say. And so if it's good, I mean, maybe they have a chance to bring that franchise back entirely. I imagine it won't be open world anymore. I imagine it will just be mission based, maybe open-ish zones. You know, we'll see. When is that game scheduled to come out?
It's like this summer, right?
Like May something or July?
May would be crazy.
Talking about Mafia, right?
Yeah, Mafia.
August 8th.
Yeah, I would say I thought it was like this summer or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is that may be here. Who knows? You know, like everybody. That's the thing that gets annoying after a while, especially like when you have so many of these showcases next to each other. Everybody wants to sneak their. Oh, remember this game's coming out in like a week or a month or whatever. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to sneak those trailers in, and you're like, man, I'm here for new games, like or stuff I don't know anything about, like. I don't need another trailer about this game that I already know whether or not I'm going to buy it. But I mean, that's just the name of the game at this point.
Right. And if you're third party, you're paying for those spots, right? So it's not like
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. That's part of the marketing budget. Yeah. You paying come off at 99. So but yeah,
if any one of these developers want to advertise on Level Cap, hit us up.
Hey, I will definitely advertise for whatever developer they want. Like just let me know. Hit us up, no level cap 99@gmail.com. We'll give you whatever you want. We'll hype it up. We'll let you know. We do not make enough money over here to have integrity just yet.
Shadow Legends, man.
I will hawk the shit out of Raid Shadow Legends. Don't play with me.
I play Raid Shadow Legends, but I got some hits with that game.
I'll learn
how 300 hours in Raid Shadow Legends. Just want to tell you about it. It's a great game. You got, man, you know.
I won't lie about the hours I've played because I've never played it before, but I'll sit down with it and give y'all 10 hours because I heard they heard them Shadow Legends checks or something else.
Hey, Hey man, you ready to play a new character, Dingus Pingus, man, with the double X, double battle system, man, extra damage, magic, summon,
all of it. All of it. Plus, I mean, I know if they hook you up with the they give you the special account, so that you ain't got to deal with all that BS. You just play the game. It's like,
That's
yeah,
true.
it probably is good if you just play the game and you ain't got to worry about no pay to win. Probably
Man,
fire.
That'd be amazing.
All right, man. I think it's gonna wrap this week up. Tell us what you hope is at the next PlayStation show in the comments below. If you're new to us and like this episode, I need you to hit the like button, subscribe, tell your friends about us, and do me a personal favor. Have an excellent week. Peace.